跟各位分享一个正在形成的看法哈，那个看法今天就不花时间跟各位介绍，各位可以到网站上去看。你可以查英文的 vertical farm，V 就是垂直 vertical farm 农场，垂直农场。vertical farm 是一个，我个人相信它会是一个在未来几年，逐渐变成很普遍的一个农业开发的形式。那它的开发的形式是这样，第一个就是说，第一个原因，并不是来自于要减少食物里程，就是说食物里程大家都知道，就是说，食物不应该从很远的地方送过来，从很远的地方送过来就要用很多的交通，用掉很多的能源，所以一样是一把青菜，它很可能用掉1公升的汽油那么远所以甚至它从外国用船运过来，那所以食物旅程越短越好。一开始垂直农场的概念，并不是为了食物里程，它是为了什么？它是为了现在种植蔬菜，因为全球暖化、气候变迁，气候非常的不正常。你今天种这个菜，以为可以收成10公斤，可能你1公斤都收不到。所以气候只要一个变化，那在下一场大雨你就没有了，所以就白种。所以大家都觉得是说，那我们是不是可以种到一个人类可以控制的环境？那也因为在这个时候需要去控制它，可是又不愿意花太多的能源，所以这种 vertical farm 呢，它就自然而然的变成用太阳能去发动它的这个照明，也就是它并不是直接晒到太阳光，因为你是农场是一层一层一层，比如说我们在台中看的某一栋大楼，那栋大楼如果它是一个 vertical farm 的话，它比如说它是40层楼还是30层楼，它30层楼里头全是农场，每一层都是农场。那农场里头不是阳光照不到吗？它用的是太阳能去控制它的荧光灯，荧光灯的光谱是被一部 PC 就好，因为现在 PC 的能力其实很强，去控制你是种什么菜，你需要的光谱是哪一种光谱，它就控制那种光谱给它，所以它是一个最需要的光谱的情况底下去照射它，那让它的成长就是可以在室内成长。那它的水，刚刚那位同学说它需要水，对不对？它的水就不是像我们现在种，可能阿嬷种树还是用浇的嘛，种菜。那个浇的东西，事实上我们很可能1/20的水就够了，因为它并不需要真正吸收那么多的水，所以大概现在你看到的垂直农场里的这个浇水的方法，都是有一根这个上面长满了洒水头，然后它就是对着这个每一个蔬菜的盆子，蔬菜都一定是种在某一个盆子，一个盆子，每一个盆子里面就是这样，就是这样喷一点水就好了。连它的养料也是这样喷，那因为基本上种在室内，所以它不要去喷洒农药，也就是没有所谓的这个农药的残余。大概这样子的东西都会变成未来饮食文化改变设计的一个最主要的带头。那你开始这种饮食文化一带头的时候，你就可以在日本看到，日本因为现在 vertical farm 还没有，不过他们有所谓叫做 underground farm， 它的有一个餐厅已经是到你进去餐厅，然后它在地下室，整个地下室它就变成农场，然后你就进去地下室挑你要吃的新鲜的蔬菜，然后拿起来它就在上面炒给你吃，所以那个基本上就是一个食物里程减到最短，就是在吃的地的附近就发生了这个。那各位也许会想说，那到底这种东西有没有真的盖起来过 ？Las Vegas 在2008年还是2009年，应该是2009年初盖了完成了一栋36层楼的建筑物。那栋36层楼的建筑物全部都是种蔬菜，因为意思是提供给所有 Las Vegas 的 hotel， 它就全部都是，它也不需要因为 Las Vegas 基本上在一个沙漠里头，所以它就是不必从远方再送蔬菜过来，它就直接在那里种植。那而且保证是新鲜，它有什么空气不好、水不够，它都没有这个问题。每一层大概都是被控制起来，那控制好了以后，用太阳能去动这里头的这个能源的主要。 那么你如果有兴趣，你还可以去研究怎么样子去了解 vertical farm 的东西。它有的是跟住宅放在一起的，所以有各种的 vertical farm 的 project， 那你可以去了解。那么在这里面有的已经盖起来，有的还没盖起来。如果我们来看 vertical farm Las Vegas， 就是这些，就是你可以看到 vertical farm 的 Las Vegas 的东西，那你再进去看，大概就可以看得清楚。所以我们先介绍到这里。接下来我们继续讲，刚刚的那位教授谈到他的这个 utopia， 他希望把它变成这个 setopia。那 setopia 的意思就是说一个农业的都市啊。那农业的都市跟这个一般现在我们都市发展最大的不同是在它的这个整个发展的理念的不同。我们的发展的理念是现在的这个理念呢，是跟这个也不同。这个是用防卫做机制的，就是希腊的这个卫城，它这个 Acropolis 是建在一个高的地方，让它变成很容易防卫下面。那我们现在的都市的发展，大部分基本上是把农业放在周边很远，或者是更远的地方，基本上是用交通来解决。那么 Acropolis 这个是一个新的字，叫做 Agropolis。Agropolis 是一个 social political， 就是社会政治跟环境的尺度去思考出来的这个都市的农业。那我相信当大家对于都市的农业开始生产的时候，刚刚的那个 setopia 就会慢慢的开始被思考。刚刚的同学谈到是说，是不是可以在自家的范围种啊？是不是可以在屋顶种啊？那些都不失为是一种小型的思考。那么我们从这些小型的思考再放大成为到稍微都市一点的尺度，你可以去想象是不是有可能是有一个社区的农场，是不是有可能是有一个稍微大一点的叫做都市里面有3个农场，那它都是刚刚我们讲的这种高塔式的一个做法，是不是有可能？这些都是值得思考的东西。接下来我们来看这个网络文化的转变，由客转主，它最主要是这个Kevin Kelly， 他今天要跟我们说的呢是 technology。那 technology 的发展，他怎么看这个 technology？ 我觉得他这一个讲的非常好，但是有一点点深。
And I want to talk about my investigations into what technology means in our lives, not just our immediate life, but in the cosmic sense, in a kind of a long history of the world and our place in the world. What is this stuff? What is its significance? And so I want to kind of go through my little story of what I found out. And one of the first things I started to investigate was the history of the name of technology. And in the United States, there's a State of the Union address given by every president since 1790. And each one of those is really kind of summing up the most important things for the United States at that time.
00年代开始，美国总统的国情咨文，他去做了一个调查，真正开始谈到 technology 这个字的时候是在这个时候，他都到了1950年，所以在这个前面这个字。基本上有这个字，可是基本上大家不用，所以它好像跟人的生活没有什么很大的关系，所以它主要是从这里讲起。
If you search for the word technology, it was not used until 1952. So technology was sort of absent from everybody's thinking until 1952, which happened to be the year of my birth. And obviously, technology had existed before then, but we weren't aware of it. And so it was sort of an awakening of this force in our life. I actually did research to find out the first use of the word technology, and it was in 1829, and it was invented by a guy who was starting a curriculum, a course, that bring together all the kinds of arts and crafts and industry, and he called it technology, and that's the very first use of the word. So what is this stuff that we're all consumed by and bothered by. Alan Kay calls it technology is anything that was invented after you were born, which is sort of the idea that we normally have about what technology is. It's all that new stuff. It's not roads or penicillin or factory tires. It's the new stuff. My friend Danny Hill says a kind of a similar one. It says technology is anything that doesn't work yet, which is, again, a sense that it's all new, but we know that it's just not new. It actually goes way back, and what I want to suggest is it goes a long way back. So another way to think about technology, what it means is to imagine a world without technology. If we were to eliminate every single bit of technology in the world today, and I mean everything, from blades to scrapers to cloth, we as a species would not live very long. We would die by the billions, and very quickly the wolves would get us. We would be defenseless. We would be unable to grow enough food or find enough food. Even the hunter-gatherers use some elementary tools. And so they have minimal technology, but they have some technology. And those, if we study those hunter-gatherer tribes and the Neanderthal, which are very similar to early man, we find out a very curious thing about this world without technology. And this is a kind of a curve of their average age. There are no Neanderthal fossils that are older than 40 years old that we've ever found. And the average age of most of these hunter-gatherer tribes is 20 to 30. There are very few young infants because they die at a high mortality rate, and there's very few old people. So the profile is sort of your average San Francisco neighborhood. A lot of young people. And if you go there, you say, hey, everybody's really healthy. Well, that's because they're all young. The same thing as with the hunter-gatherer tribes and early men is that you didn't live beyond the age of 30. So it was a world without grandparents. And grandparents are very important because they are the transmitter of cultural evolution and information. Imagine a world, and basically everybody was 20 to 30 years old. How much learning can you do? You can't do very much learning in your own life. It's so short, and there's nobody to pass on what you do learn. So that's one aspect. It was a very short life. But at the same time, anthropologists know that most hunter-gatherer tribes of the world without very little technology actually did not spend a very long time gathering the food that they needed, 3 to 6 hours a day. Some anthropologists call that the original affluent society because they had banker hours, basically. So it was possible to get enough food, but when the scarcity came, when the highs and lows and the droughts came, then people went into starvation, and that's why they didn't live very long. So what technology brought through the very simple tools like these stone tools here, even something as small as this, the early bands of humans were actually able to eliminate to extinction about 250 megafauna animals in North America when they first arrived 10,000 years ago. So long before industrial age, we've been affecting the planet on a global scale with just a small amount of technology. The other thing that the early man invented was fire. And fire was used to clear out and, again, affected the ecology of grass and whole continents, and was used in cooking. It enabled us to actually eat all kinds of things. It was sort of, in a certain sense, in a McLuhan sense, an external stomach, in the sense that it was cooking food that we could not eat otherwise. And if we don't have fire, we actually could not live. Our bodies have adapted to these new diets. Our bodies have changed in the last 10,000 years. So with a little bit of technology, humans went from a small band of 10,000 or so, the same number as Neanderthals everywhere, and we suddenly exploded. With the invention of language around 50,000 years ago, the number of humans exploded and very quickly became the dominant species on the planet. And they migrated into the rest of the world at 2 kilometers per year until within several tens of thousands of years, we occupied every single watershed on the planet and became the most dominant species with a very small amount of technology. And even at that time, with the introduction of agriculture 8,000, 10,000 years ago, we started to see climate change. So climate change is not a new thing. What's new is just the degree of it was. Even during the agricultural age, there was climate change.
农业文化造成气候的变化，也就是他这里提到的这个 climate change， 事实上是这样子。可是到了工业文化开始以后，它就开始变成啪这样子上去，所以工业的文化事实上是造成整个气候变迁一个非常重要的原因。但是人类的任何动作都造成气候的变化。 这个是他要讲的重点，就是说人类就算是在我们现在看起来很落伍的时代，他用了一点点的工具，就已经把200种美洲的动物就已经把它灭种了。就是这个就是人类的这个有了工具以后的力量。
So already, small amounts of technology were transforming the world. And what this means, and where I'm going, is that technology has become the most powerful force in the world. All the things that we see today that are changing our lives, we can always trace back to the introduction of some new technology. So it's a force that is the most powerful force that has been unleashed on this planet. And it's such a degree that I think that it's become who we are. In fact, our humanity and everything that we think about ourselves is something that we've invented. So we've invented ourselves. Of all the animals that we have domesticated, the most important animal that we've domesticated has been us. Okay? So humanity is our greatest invention, but of course, we're not done yet. We're still inventing, and this is what technology is allowing us to do, is to continually to reinvent ourselves. It's a very, very strong force. I call this entire thing, us humans as our technology, everything that we've made, gadgets in our lives, we call that the technium, that's this world. My working definition of technology is anything that useful that a human mind makes. It's not just hammers and gadgets like laptops, but it's also law. And, of course, cities are ways to make things more useful to us. While it's something that comes from our mind, it also has its roots deeply into the cosmos. It goes back. The origins and roots of technology go back to the Big Bang in this way, in that they are part of this self-organizing thread that starts at the Big Bang and goes through galaxies and stars into life, into us. And the three major phases of the early universe was energy. When the dominant force was energy, then it became the dominant force as it cooled, became matter. And then with the invention of life 4 billion years ago, the dominant force in our neighborhood became information.
这一张表可以看一下，这个是时间，这个是地球刚开始的时候，这个是他用的这个dominate force， 就是主宰的力量。这边是 energy 能源，到后来变成物质，因为地球冷了以后，它就没有那个热，只剩下太阳，这个就是物质。到这个时间发展到一个程度。物质虽然还在，可是 information 的力量越来越大。等到再往后发展的时候 ，information 的力量也会变成是这样。所以人类是从能源到物质到情报这样子的一个概念。
That's what life is, this information process that was restructuring and making new order. So those energy matter, Einstein showed were equivalent, and now the new sciences of quantum computing show that entropy and information and matter and energy are all interrelated. So it's one long continuum. You put energy into the right kind of system, and out comes wasted heat, entropy, and exotropy, which is order. It's the increasing order. So where does this order come from? Its roots go way back. We actually don't know. But we do know that the self-organization trend throughout the universe is long, and it began with things like galaxies. They maintained their order for billions of years. Stars are basically nuclear fission machines that self-organize and self-sustain themselves for billions of years, this order against the entropy of the world. And flowers and plants are the same thing, extended. And technology is basically an extension of life. So one trend that we notice in all those things is that the amount of energy per gram per second that flows through this is actually increasing. The amount of energy is increasing through this little sequence, and that the amount of energy per gram per second that flows through life is actually greater than a star because of the star's long length, a long lifespan. The energy density in life is actually higher than a star, and the energy density that we've seen the greatest of anywhere in the universe is actually in a PC chip. There's more energy flowing through per gram per second than anything that we have any other experience with. And so what I would suggest
虽然有点难懂，不过你最好也把它这个试着去了解。他刚刚在解释的意思就是说，一个星球它所这个在它的生命中间每一秒所用到的能量，其实小于我们这个一个这个小小的人，因为我们的小小的人虽然是意思是生命很短，所以比起一个星球不够，但是我们在通过我们的能量 是很大的。那一个电脑的晶片那就更大，所以它在这里面有一个 Society Brains Plants， 这个 Plants 这个 Star Galaxy， 它的这个 computer 是用最能量密度最高的，这边是能量。
Is that if you want to see where technology is going, we continue that trajectory and we say that well, it's going to become more energy dense. That's where it's going. And so what I've done is I've taken the same kinds of things and looked at other aspects of evolutionary life and say, what are the general trends in evolutionary life? And there are things moving towards greater complexity, moving towards greater diversity, moving towards greater specialization, sentience, ubiquity, and most important, evolvability. Those very same things are also present in technology. That's where technology is going. In fact, technology is accelerating all the aspects of life. We can see that happening just as there's diversity in life, there's more diversity in things we make. Things in life start off being general cell and they become specialized. You have tissue cells, you have muscle, brain cells, and same thing happens with, say, a hammer, which is general at first and becomes more specific. So I would like to say that while there's 6 kingdoms of life, we can think of technology basically as the 7th kingdom of life. It's branching off from the human form. But technology has its own agenda like anything, like life itself. For instance, right now, 3/4 of the energy that we use is actually used to feed the technium itself. In transportation, it's not to move us, it's to move the stuff that we make or buy. I use the word want, technology wants. This is a robot that wants to plug itself in to get more power. Your cat wants more food. A bacterium, which has no consciousness at all, wants to move towards light. It has an urge, and technology has an urge. At the same time, it wants to give us things, and what it gives us is basically progress. You can take all kinds of curves, and they're all pointing up. There's really no dispute about progress if we discount the cost of that, and that's the thing that bothers most people, is that progress is really real, but we wonder and question whether the environmental costs of it. I did a survey of the number of species of artifacts in my house, and there's 6,000. Other people have come up with 10,000. When King Henry of England died, he had 18,000 things in his house, but that was the entire wealth of England. So, and with that entire wealth of England, King Henry could not buy any antibiotics. He could not buy refrigeration. He could not buy a trip of 1,000 miles. Whereas this rickshawwala in India could save up and buy antibiotics, and he could buy refrigeration. He could buy things that King Henry in all his wealth could never buy. That's what progress is about. So technology is selfish, technology is generous. That conflict, that tension will be with us forever. That sometimes it wants to do what it wants to do, and sometimes it's going to do things for us. We have confusion about what we should think about a new technology. Right now, the default position about when a new technology comes along is people talk about the precautionary principle, which is very common in Europe, which says basically don't do anything. When you meet a new technology, stop until it can be proven that does no harm. I think that is really leads nowhere, but a better way is to what I call proactionary principle, which is you engage with technology. You try it out. You obviously do what the precautionary principle suggests. You try to anticipate it, but after anticipating it, you constantly assess it, not just once, but eternally. And when it diverts from what you want, we prioritize risk. We evaluate not just the new stuff, but the old stuff. We fix it, but most importantly, we relocate it. And what I mean by that is that we find a new job for it. Nuclear energy fission is a really bad idea for bombs, but it may be a pretty good idea relocated into sustainable nuclear energy for electricity instead of burning coal. When we have a bad idea, the response to a bad idea is not no ideas. It's not to stop thinking. The response to a bad idea, like say a tungsten light bulb, is a better idea. Okay? So better ideas is really always the response to technology that we don't like, is basically better technology. And actually, in a certain sense, technology is a kind of a method for generating better ideas, if you can think about it that way. So maybe spraying DDT on crops is a really bad idea, but DDT sprayed on local homes, there's nothing better to eliminate malaria besides insect DDT impregnated mosquito nets, but that's a really good idea. That's a good job for technology. So our job as humans is to parent our mind children, to find them good friends, to find them a good job. And so every technology is sort of a creative force looking for the right job. That's actually my son right here. There are no bad technologies, just as there's no bad children. Children, we don't say children are neutral, children are positive. We just have to find them the right place. And so what technology gives us over the long term, over this sort of extended evolution from the beginning of time through the invention of plants and animals and the evolution of life, evolution of brains, what that is constantly giving us is increasing differences, it's increasing diversity, it's increasing options, it's increasing choices, opportunities, possibilities, and freedoms. That's what we get from technology all the time. That's why people leave villages and go into cities. It's because they are always gravitating towards increased choices and possibilities. And we are aware of the price. We pay a price for that, but we are aware of it, and generally we will pay the price for increased freedoms, choices, and opportunities. Even technology wants clean water. Is technology diametrically opposed to nature? Because technology is an extension of life, it's in parallel and aligned with the same things that life wants. So I think technology loves biology if we allow it to. The great movement that is starting billions of years ago is moving through us, and it continues to go. And our choice, so to speak, in technology is really to align ourselves with this force much greater than ourselves. So technology is more than just the stuff in your pocket. It's more than just gadgets. It's more than just things that people invent. It's actually part of a very long story, a great story that began billions of years ago and is moving through us as self-organization, and we're extending and accelerating it, and we can be part of it by aligning the technology that we make with it. And I really appreciate your attention today. Thank you.
听懂的举手。你听懂吗？说说看，没关系。你听到什么？
听到，他认为就是科技都是好的，没有坏的，只是看你如何去使用它。
不错，你听到重点。你要不要分享？
科技这个事情事实上是很早就开始了，所有东西在我们身边的东西，它都可以被视为科技。那怎么使用它，其实是它是人的生命的一个延伸。
是，很好。
我只听得懂他后面的一个结论，就是他说他觉得科技跟小孩一样，就是没有好的，没有坏的，但是你要怎么去把它放在对的位，放在你怎么定位它。
你有没有听到他说的科技其实是一个，不是我们放在口袋里面的一个电话或者是什么，而是一个很大力量从这个几十亿年前地球形成的时候，它就一直在向前推动。我们只不过是把我们凑上去，就顺着那个东西一直向前走。有听到那个？
有。是。而且他把科技的定义就不只是我们现在看到的这些电脑什么的，他觉得那些工具就已经算是，就是人类古早的时候的那些工具就是科技。
人类动脑筋想办法去让自己这个更进步或更好的都算是科技。
所以我听到比较有心得，就是他觉得科技不是一件东西，它是一个想法，就是人们怎么去想，或者是以前的生物怎么去想，这个科技就会随着他们的想法去进步。然后现在比较需要改的就不是我们的科技本身，而是我们的想法，然后要怎么从我们的想法推动这个科技去往前。
很好。听到什么？
听到，就是
不要紧张，你一定听到一个什么东西。你觉得我们一定要练习听再深的东西，你都要抓到一个，抓到一个算一个。
就是应该说，因为你在设计东西的时候，常常在想说，在解决问题，然后而且时常想到跟未来有关的，就是为了未来在做一些解决问题这样子啊，之后。就实际上到最后都变成一种做出来的东西都是板状物的，就是科技跟电子产品已经被连结了，或者是虚拟的一个状态。对啊，然后就是 像我就觉得他说像榔头那一些是科技的一部分，所以我就觉得还蛮特别，就是不需要把科技变得让跟我们距离很远，它其实很贴近那样。
好，好。
我一开始是注意到他的那个，他发表的时候就是把人家引导进一个情境，然后你就一直听他讲，然后就相信他了，然后最后再做出他的结论。对，然后这是我学到的地方。然后还有他说坏的 idea 就是一定相对有个 good idea。
很好。
听到是他说什么大家认为technology是因为它就像人从相同关进度机一样，是有 freedom difference options choice。然后他说 technology 跟 biology 是平行的，然后就是应该意思就是不会说有 technology 然后 biology 对把它破坏什么之类的，应该他们是可以并存的，只是看我们要怎么去使用 technology。
很好。所以他用了一个字叫 technology loves biology， 对不对？来，后面的同学。
我听到就是他对于科技的定义，就是其实科技本来也是一个很平凡、一个很小的东西，然后就是它随着时间越来越长，然后人类就把科技这两个字感觉就是把它变得越来越高级，或者是就是好像是一个比较不可及的东西。
有没有听出来他在讲一个大星球用的能量比一个电脑的这个 computer chips 用的少的那个概念，他在讲什么？知道吗？没有很懂。好，那你要不要听到什么特别的？你要跟他 OK。
科技爱生物。
科技爱生物。
我只有一个问题，我刚才不知道有没有听错。他说 freedom 跟 opportunity 跟 choice 是成反比的意思吗？是我听错还是他是这样讲？
他没有这样讲。
他没有这样，
是
可能是我听错。我只是觉得这一点很好奇。
他的意思就是说，你在科技上面的发展，让你为什么你会那样？是因为你会去想要追求自由嘛？那科技让你确实是更自由嘛？如果没有科技，我也不能中午出发，下午来这里上课嘛。所以我是更自由，没有错，我没有被绑住，但是我需要付出代价。他的意思是这个。你要分享什么吗？
我是想说，就是人类真的需要科技吗？对吧？就是如果科技太发展的话，对自然可能不会是好的，但是人类好像又这么需要科技，所以我在想说，人类跟科技有关系。